we're experimenting on both sides, right? Like we're going to say it's not thinking, it is thinking, but there are those scary moments when it does something and it feels remarkably human to it. I saw this 9 years ago. I built a neural network, which is basically an AI design that mimics the human brain. Today's LLMs are along those lines of like a much larger capability. I was working with millions of neurons at that time. We're talking about billions to trillions of neurons in these like enormous models today.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to Bold Conscious Connections. So this channel is dedicated to exploring the journeys of visionary leaders, entrepreneurs, who really dare to follow their dreams, their passions, and create really impactful businesses. So if you're looking to become an entrepreneur or otherwise seeking inspiration to elevate your career, well, you're in the right place, my friend. So on this channel, what I do is we delve into strategies, mindsets, stories behind the success of those that have done this before, like I have. I'm always delighted to speak to this man, Don Finley, old buddy. And, we've had so many conversations, and every time we talk, even if we don't talk for a few months, it's like we go deep. So it's been a long time coming. So I appreciate you being here, Don.
Raju, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And like, I just absolutely, appreciate the connection that we fostered over the years. So thank you again for having me on the show.
Oh my God. So, I always ask my guests, we can talk about all day about what you do, who you, by day and all the things you do. For you, in your case, you're a technologist, a builder. You host a podcast of your own called The Human Code. You and I talked on that podcast, and hopefully that'll come out soon, the episode. But, you've helped launch platforms. You're all over AI. You scale products, and you navigate real tension between innovation and intention. I think I just came up with that this morning. Innovation and intention.
I like that. I'm going to steal it, buddy.
Good. So we've swapped thoughts on consciousness and code, if you will, all kinds of code, and how people actually change. So before I go anywhere else, I said, tell the listeners or viewers in this case who Don is.
That's a great question. Don is an ever-evolving, face and an ever-evolving set of activities that kind of like look to make an impact on the world. Most of that finds its way through code and software. The other side of it is just trying to make our own organization a better place to work, a better place to experience. I've faced my own trials and tribulations in life just like everybody else has, and came to find out that I wasn't really looking for work-life balance, but looking for work-life integration. And how we actually, we spend our times during the day, I wanted a more fulfilling experience for myself, for my employees, for our clients. And so it changed how we looked at the way that we were going about projects, the way that we were going about life.
Oh, there's a lot to unpack there, but just talk a bit about the turning points. I mean, were there one or two that just stand out that caused you to go in that direction?
So I've been running Industries for about 12, 13 years now. And late 2018, I found myself closing out one project. We had launched a bank, and that bank was looking to do affinity credit card type programs for checking and savings. And so it required us to architect a new system that, wasn't out on the market to easily stand up individual banks that could support, the likes of Amazon, T-Mobile, et cetera, big brands. And I love the project because it allowed us to go after the underbanked by using, a credit mechanism that wasn't being utilized. So in the case of like a cell phone company, you always pay your cell phone bill. So the bank tied to that gave the unbanked an additional place to go into, like the traditional banking system. And so I love seeing projects like that come across. But I left that project and went to go climb Kilimanjaro. And Kilimanjaro is, really a 6-day hike. And the last night you start at midnight and you just go switch back up the last like 5,000 feet of elevation. So you go from 14,000 feet to 19,000 feet, and you hit that about like 6 o'clock in the morning. Exhausted, my water line froze, my Nalgene bottle froze. So like getting water out was exhausting. The air looks the same. It doesn't taste the same. You are heart rate's going 140 beats per minute. You're making one step and you're winded, but you turn around and you look and there's the sunrise going over the second peak. And so seeing that over Maui is amazing. You are above the clouds and like, it's gorgeous. It's one of the best sunrises I've ever seen. I looked over my friends and they all had this look of joy on their face. And in that moment, I was like, nah, this is okay. And the second thought that went was, oh shit, I'm the reason for all of my misery. I'm the one who's holding myself back from experiencing this moment. There were no emails to answer. There was no business to run in that moment. There was literally just the moment of me watching that sunrise and being there for it. And I was missing out on it. And so in that moment, it was a kind of realization that like, hey, we've made a lot of changes. We've done a lot of great, but we've got to change how we're actually working. And so I got off the mountain. I ended up, on another journey of sorts as well. But that led us to going to, being really a friendship first organization. We looked at our clients and how we wanted to work with them. We looked at our employees and how we wanted to work with them. We looked at the business models that we were using and how we were going about our projects and said, okay, this is how we could help to create a better environment. And the way that plays out today is, we're working through AI enablement, and that's consulting, that's education, but then it's also product implementation. And we like to work with, relationship first companies so that we can use AI to help bring people back to relationships, allow people to spend time on creative pursuits, and additionally focus on the strategy of the organization outside of the execution of it. So, yeah.
I had lots of questions on AI earlier, but I'm going to go right to it. Cool. So since might as well just tick that box faster. So AI is accelerating everything, as we know, but what's something you, Don, and your team will deliberately not want to automate, even if you could?
Do you have that thing that just brings joy into your day? Like that you look forward to?
Oh, lately a bit, yeah, a few.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the spark. That's where the line in the sand is. I don't want to take away from an activity that actually that brings you joy. There is
even you could automate it? Even if you could
automate it. Like,
what's an example of that? You could automate that you wouldn't want to automate.
I'm almost at a point where I can have an AI avatar sit in meetings for me.
Oh.
Okay. And so I can have, I record the introduction for our podcast on every guest, and I create the introduction for that guest, right? I use AI to help me collaborate and pull out some key salient moments, but I have the final say, and I do that.
That's right.
But I could actually create an automation pipeline that goes from, here's the transcript of the call, here's the bio of the speaker, write me the introduction, and then go into another piece of software and say, hey, use my voice to actually generate the introduction. And we've tried it out, and it does work. It's 95% of the way there, but it's not that extra 5, right? And that brings me joy because I then write a personalized email to each guest and basically saying why I enjoyed that. And so those activities help me to foster a relationship that, may not have been able to be fostered if I just handed it over to AI. So those are the kind of activities that I personally don't find myself automating. I may change tune. I may give some of those pieces more over, but it's that personal connection that I have with my guest that I want to be fostering.
Awesome. You've been deep in product, all that stuff, as you said, code for years, and then you moved around and now doing something more sort of meaningful. But when you're building something fast, for clients, how do you know when you're cutting corners versus cutting ego? This came out, sorry.
No, that's absolutely beautiful. What I love about that statement is I've run into that probably in every change management project that we've ever done. And so if you think about large scale IT implementations, they're always change management. New technology can kickstart that. And we were doing ERP systems and, the types of systems that you expect to have a 10, 15% lift on whatever metric you're looking at. And we would see people who are the users fight that at every turn. Where I've had to take a step back and say is I can't be beholden to how I'm doing something. The how can always change. The why I do something is the important piece. It's that Simon Sinek kind of moment, right? Like why I do and what I do are kind of like how we deliver to the market. How we do it is an always evolving necessity.
Like things are always changing, and methodologies and problems.
And so, for example, we used to hold like Zoom meetings with our clients to get requirements from them, right? And then we would process transcripts using AI to create the requirements documents. And we cut out the Zoom meeting. We have an AI that our clients can actually interact with that helps them to define the requirements for any new projects that we're building for them. And so they interact with the AI. The AI knows their system that they're using and can ask follow-up questions and can ask things, and then produces a requirements doc for us. Right. So I enjoy meeting with our clients. Some of our team does as well. But for the purpose of gathering requirements, this AI saves us about 20% of the effort and duration in delivering new workflow automations for them. So I don't want to be beholden or hold on to the idea that this is a vital step in the process when we have the evidence that shows like, hey, we can speed things up. We can deliver a faster, better product to our clients by removing me from the situation.
So what happens if you think their vision is off, like say, or still forming, right? While you're aligning with the client's vision, as you said. So how do you navigate that without pretending to know better?
You know, listening to a friend of mine talk about how he was delivering a project to a client, and he had a client that every time that he would finish saying what they wanted, he was saying, I want the site to pop. Yeah. Right? Like, which is...
What's another way of saying that so that people understand what you're saying?
Well, and I think this is where the story goes, right? Like nobody knows what that actually means. And so what he did is he's a web developer, and he ended up, whenever you clicked on something, he made it sound like it was popping. Right. And so he added sounds to it just to say like, hey, this is what you asked for, and this is what you kind of get. And what ended up happening is the client got it and goes, why did you add all those sounds? And he's like, well, you kept on asking me to make it pop. So I did. And I think that's the challenge is, you know, how do we take something that is an informal kind of like language and then turn it into product? And, you know, that's what we do. We try to turn that idea around as fast as possible. And sometimes it comes out silly. And sometimes it comes out like, hey, this isn't what we were looking for. But now that I see it, I go. And so from what we do with teams is we look at like how fast we can optimize that turnaround time from the point in which a client has an idea and we say that we're working on it to the point when we can show them something. Right. And so if we can iterate that loop faster, we can make sure that we deliver product that meets what they're actually looking for and to help to refine down that true vision that they want to have. Yeah.
Right. So pop in this context was simply that they want to, you know, have some more traffic and what have you. And
exactly. He wanted to like follow, like the end of that story was that the client was laughing and he came back and said, you know what? He's like, I see how I've been very imprecise in the language that I'm using. He heard that at a marketing convention, and being that he didn't really, you know, had worked with, you know, custom web development before, wasn't truly understanding, you know, what it meant, but just thought that it was something that was like industry specific and kind of would like work with that. And he thought that he was, you know, speaking the speak.
Yeah. Okay, so I know we could talk about AI, and I don't want this to be all about AI because I want to get into our inner game conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leadership without title and that sort of thing. But anyway, before we go there, I mean, you work across all these large language models, and what is this agentic? How do you say
agentic? Yeah,
agentic system.
So engines. Like, what is that? Think about how you're using ChatGPT, right? Like, or Claude or DeepSeek, whatever model you're using today.
Right.
Those models come across as just basically being very helpful assistants in the framework and the area in which they are, you know, defined. And that's what they've been trained on. they don't really exist outside of the chat window, right? Like they can't take action upon the world. That's the difference between where LLMs are in that confined space to agentic systems. And so really it's about giving tools to the AI. And
so what's an example of that, Don?
Yeah, so we use ClickUp for project management.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can use Asana, you can use the Elastic, whatever systems you use. But we have a project management tool. And so our AI has access to ClickUp. And then additionally, we use Fireflies to record our Zoom meetings, etc. Our Sophia platform has access to both Fireflies and ClickUp as tools for them to use. And then in an interaction with when it finds that we have some AIs that are trained to basically say, like, let's take our phone calls, our Zooms, process the transcripts, find the actions from it, find the client that it's for, associate it with their project, and then update their project management, like list and their project on our platforms. So that AI has a goal of basically being a project manager with the responsibility of handling status updates.
And that's an agentic system that you've built internally, or?
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's an agentic system in which it has a goal of being a project manager and handling updates. It has tools of Fireflies and ClickUp to, understand projects, understand lists, understand tasks, and to create tasks, update tasks, delete tasks, change status on tasks, add comments, expand descriptions, take notes and comments on it. I feel like I probably mentioned comments twice, but all in all, it has tools and it has a goal.
Right. Let me see. So on your podcast, you and I talked a lot about AI and, human code AI. What's something about tech that most people, especially the ones sort of hyping it right now, still don't understand?
Let's get into some foo-foo stuff. AI is literally a reflection of your own consciousness. The way that it's playing out is, we build helpful assistants, and those helpful assistants are doing things such as mirroring your behavior.
Yes.
And so when you can ask a question of the AI and you can give it the information, you're going to see something that kind of like reflects your worldview.
Correct.
And it can definitely go. So be aware of the bias that you're bringing into the scenario. That's not being talked about a lot. The other side of it is we've got a long way to go on AI alignment. There is a lot of great work coming out of the labs around how do we actually align AI. But there's also a lot of, interesting scenarios that AI gets itself into. It is showing signs of like self-preservation in which we find that AI is willing to manipulate its environment in order for it to actually survive. I'm using air quotes in that scenario. I think we're going to have many discussions on what actually is conscious, what isn't conscious, what are signs of life, what are not signs of life in this whole space. But this is, one of the awesome discussions that we are prone to be having. And I think that is part of the human experience, is to actually see, like, how do you want to be integrated with life and how do you want to be separate from it?
Yep. It's funny, humans built AI, can't deny that. And yet we're the ones trying to figure out, what is AI doing? It's been in a way that's so funny because, hey, what are we scared of? What are we as human, as a race, is what we built this. It's been going on for 50 years of, all sorts of everything sort of coming together. We had knowledge management systems at one time. All this is getting morphed into how you basically have taken the world of information and just made it easy to access.
Yeah.
And Google was one little, kind of avatar of that along the way in evolution. So it's just, what is that has suddenly changed that people go, oh crap, AI.
Humans love to categorize things and define taxonomy of like where items go and where we can place it, right? So AI is AI today, right? LLMs and what we're seeing is the first real demonstration of AI in the masses.
Yes.
That showcases how a machine can think, right? Like, and can actually mimic that capability. Exactly. Apple came out with a paper a couple weeks ago that basically says that, the machines aren't actually reasoning. Facebook is coming out and saying like, you know what, we're actually going to take away language from thinking because that's not how human thinking is done. It's done more abstractly, which is going to provide some interesting results because language itself is not very high fidelity in its
it's also limiting in
density.
Exactly.
So we're experimenting on both sides, right? Like we're going to say it's not thinking, it is thinking. But there are those scary moments when it does something and it feels remarkably human to it.
Absolutely.
And I saw this 9 years ago. I was processing, I built a neural network, which is basically an AI design that mimics the human brain. Today's LLMs are along those lines of like a much larger capability. I was working with millions of neurons at that time. We're talking about billions to trillions of neurons in these like enormous models today. And I was giving it my text messages. And so I was using the text messages that I would send, and then I would have it respond in one of my friends' voices. And so all that I told the AI was, I was like, this is an A, this is a B, this is a C. These are, you know, periods, punctuation, numbers, right? So alphanumeric set. And then it started processing. You'd see over time that it would start breaking chunks of letters down into words. And then it would actually form words, and then it would form sentences that were incoherent. But then it started doing verbs, nouns, adjectives. And, you know, after about 24 hours of training, I saw, you know, it would be able to make a sentence, but it made no sense. And then I asked it, what would you like for dinner? And this friend of mine would never respond to the question I was asking, right? Like, and the AI responded back with, I miss your dog by name. And it was like, I miss Vincent. And I was like, it was one of those moments where it was a terrible response, but at the same time, it was such a great response for that person that I was emulating through this AI that I was like, whoa, there's something here. And I think we're seeing that more and more in regards to like what LLMs are being capable of. And I think we're going to have a sliding scale around like, what do we actually consider to be that next level of like, what is uniquely human in intelligence? And then what is the machine capable of doing?
Well, I can see it all coming through, and it's all evolving. I want to live longer to see what comes up.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're a coach, founder, product leader, etc. But there's no job title for a deep listener, as I know you are. When did you realize that your success depended more on how you listen than what you know?
About 5 seconds ago. Thank you. That's very, very insightful. The first thought that came up was I was right out of college. I was involved with a bank that was doing mortgage lending, and we were, you know, I think it was like a $20 million project at that time. And I was a project manager for one of the components of it. And I came in very late in the project, and I had a client who taught me that he was literally going to scream to high heavens and use every expletive possible to describe the software that we were building him. Because at the time, it really wasn't that great. And it was, you know, a problem of telephone. Typical software development at that time was we would write, you know, 60 pages of requirements that would turn into 100 pages of technical design that wouldn't turn into code. And then you would show the client, and then you would be like, yeah, that's not at all what I meant. And then you have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of change requests that you have to do in order to meet it. And now you're building a mediocre situation or solution for something. And so that experience showed me that like, we've got to find ways to listen, but then also to be able to regurgitate that back to people in a way that's effective. And the way that we build software and solutions is where we are literally translating your ideas into code. And so I've got to make sure that that I understand what you're saying as well as that. But
so what does that lead to? More checkpoints and making sure they're along the way that they're
faster. It's faster feedback, right? Like it's getting to the point of seeing how can you create a feedback loop that allows your developers to know that they're doing something correctly, but then additionally isn't overburdening them to the point of they're not able to create or have any flow themselves.
Mm.
So it's about finding that right way to bring the client into it and giving them the opportunity to see something that they can provide feedback on. The other
Beautiful.
side of it is 93% of communication is not the words that we say.
Exactly.
So
I say English and these words or all the languages, they're so limiting to
exactly.
convey what we really feel and who we are. So in that sense, we talk about consciousness a lot, you and I, and presence in the world that we live in of, scaling, solving problems, etc. What brings you, Don, back to the center?
I'm only as good to my team as I am to myself. And there's the idea that I can only love you as deeply as I've met myself as well. And so when I find that I am off kilter, when I am lacking in my own centered, I need to come back to what am I doing to love myself? What am I doing to love the experience of being Don Finley here? That plays out in many ways. Meditation, journaling, there's breath work, exercise, eating healthy. And then, I would say that the challenge that I have in my world today is really sleeping right. But it's definitely a pause of, we've been working in the external, we've been caring for others. Let's make sure that we actually care for ourselves to the same depth that we care for our clients as well.
Well, if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your clients. That's what I always say.
Exactly.
Or anything that you're giving your energies and attention to.
I find that I have this, I don't know, it's probably this childhood trauma that comes out, nothing that plays out where, you want to be the one who can provide, you want to be the person who is delivering that. And then there's the extra effort of well, if I just sacrifice myself a little bit, I can get there. And that may work today, but that is not a week strategy. That is not a month strategy or a year strategy that you can maintain. And so I think one of the keys for any leader is to be able to recognize you can do short bursts in which you do neglect yourself. Don't make that a habit. And I find that too many entrepreneurs get into that trap of neglecting their relationships, neglecting themselves, and neglecting the people that have supported them to get to where they are.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable.
Indeed. So on that note, what are you unlearning right now that might surprise even people close to you?
This is going to be funny because I would bank that some of my closer team members will tell you that they've known this for a while. I'm unlearning how to worry. It has been coming up for myself in different ways. It is an onion that consistently gets pulled back. It's a safety mechanism of the mind to basically create any scenario that you think you might run into, and then to think through it and kind of give that to you. So I find myself in an exercise of unlearning that.
Are there examples that you could share?
Oh, yeah. We have a client in which we have not been getting feedback from. We have not been getting positive feedback from. We've been getting some negative feedback, and the negative feedback seems it's rather minor, right? There's nothing major, but we're still just getting, that's all we get. And so I was on the phone with the CEO of the company last week, and I've been working with the team trying to find out how do we actually make sure that we get positive feedback, or are we under delivering? Are we not delivering? Are we delivering the wrong thing instead of what they're looking for? And that's why we're getting this feedback. And so creating those loops, and just in a client checkup call that I had with the CEO, he goes, I'm not personally good at making sure that I focus on the positive. So my team also probably is impacted, but here's the benefit that we've gotten from your system, and here's where we're at. And I was like, oh, okay, so we're not finding ourselves in that situation. I had manufactured through my own kind of rumination on, the lack of positive feedback that we have come to expect, that there was something negative to address there.
Interesting example. But it shows, also ties into the worry, right? So you're like, okay, well, what else can I worry about today?
Exactly.
Feel human.
In the absence of the positive, I didn't even hold myself to the idea that everything could be okay. But I manufactured something that I had to take care of.
That's amazing, isn't it? So if Industries had a hidden mission that's not on the website, let's say your website, I'm sure you have a website, right?
Yeah.
What would it say?
I have a yoga instructor who he also is he's a therapeutics guy. And so he goes, I'm always sneaking in therapeutics into the yoga routine and to try to like help your body be healthy.
Uh-huh.
I would say that Findustry is kind of like, it does the sneaky spiritualism. Our AI models are meant to be your partner in what you're doing. And so it's not going to replace you. That's not the purpose of like what we want. But I want the AI to help you deliver more joy into the world. And so if I can help to bring the AI to a point where it can actually collaborate with you, can teach you what it's doing, what it's bringing, and can do that from a place of love and from a place of like that expression of humanity, and to help foster that with you to bring you closer to what your purpose is, that would be Finley's and Findustries' hidden agenda.
So what if you put that on your website? What happens? What are the consequences? People will run away?
There's an idea in marketing that you have to meet people where they're at. Mm-hmm. And so I will probably bring a version of that out to attract the people who are there, who are interested in that kind of expression. But I will tell you that some of our, you worked in financial services for a while, right? Like there is
like 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just a small bit.
Yeah.
And so we find ourselves in those situations in which that audience may not be ready for that type of language to be used. And you know what? Maybe I'm selling that market short as well.
Well, because we assume, I shouldn't go there, because I started this particular coaching business 5 years ago with the idea that I'm going to be all about consciousness and talk about that. And it's so true in marketing. That's, stupid mistake number one. People will pay for what they want. People don't, like we all do. We pay for what we want. We don't pay for what somebody thinks we need, right? That just never happens. So that took several years of, hard knocks to say,
I'm still learning.
What are you doing? It's like, I haven't learned it. So I don't even know when I'm ever going to learn it. But so, this for me is a type of conversation that I can at least, it's my platform. I can talk about whatever you talk about, but then I can't sell this to anybody. I can't market consciousness to people because, so I'm assuming that people are not conscious. That is not the case. I'm just saying that every individual, including me, at different points in life, we're unconscious or not too conscious about certain things. So, who are we to judge? So just if the world has to go around and you, as you said, you add joy to your clients or find ways to do that without, maybe other ways to say it so they can tangibly say, oh, if I implement this AI, my employees' lives or my own clients, they may have clients, their lives get, be better, more efficient, so have more free time, whatever it is that you can translate for them. I guess that's what this is. So that's been my learning as well. Like, oh man, this is, so I just like to ask questions like, what if this was not, what's the underlying mission you have? And therefore, you may not say that, but it's there. Are you good for some rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Morning ritual you swear by?
Meditation or breath work.
One piece of tech you think is overhyped?
8 sleep mattresses.
A what?
It's a heating and cooling mattress, and they, let's just say the quality is a little bit of hit or miss.
Okay. I want to talk about that. Consciousness, learned or remembered?
Remembered.
When do you feel most in your body?
Tuesdays.
Oh, I want to hear that. Why?
Because that's the right now.
Oh.
And that's
Tuesday today.
Tuesday today. It's I had a coach once who goes, he's like, the mind can be in the past, it can be in the future. The heart is, all time. It has no meaning of it. And then, but the body is the only thing that is actually truly present.
Absolutely. Awesome. Worst advice you ever followed?
Hustle culture.
Man, I hate that.
Yeah. And then it's the Christian work ethic on top of that. Really just kills you.
Guilt.
Yep.
Okay. What's harder, starting from scratch or starting over?
Starting over.
Mm. What kind of client or founder energy drains you?
Wow. I can't answer that.
Okay.
It's a very interesting, the people that I like love to work with though are the ones who have a vision and who really want to see the world in a better place. It's a very much, I haven't focused on who I don't want to be working with, and mostly I've just been focusing on who is it that I'm calling in.
Okay.
So
a moment when someone surprised you in the best possible way.
My partner, she has expressed on many occasions that she's wanted to like love the parts of me that I don't love myself.
Mm.
And that has been a remarkable surprise every single time.
Beautiful. So what do you crave more, momentum or clarity?
Oof. How about I feel like lately I've been creating more momentum, and at the same time, I need to balance that back out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most useful thing you've learned outside tech? I mean, I kind of know the answer to that, but
how we have a mutual friend that shares, he goes, this is going to get really weird. He's like, we're about 15,000 years ahead of the rest of the universe on tech compared to where we are spiritually. Not all problems are solved with tech, and not all problems need to be solved with tech.
Well, we do agree on that, don't we?
Yeah, we definitely do. Whether, I mean, probably the source, we probably may not, but at the same time, the actual sentiment of that concept, I 100% am a part of.
Yeah. I mean, we're all standing on the shoulders of all that people have done and built, and beautiful.
I love the Einstein quote. He goes, the biggest question that you can ask yourself is whether you find the universe to be a friendly place or an unfriendly place. And if you find it to be an unfriendly place, you will use all of your effort and technology to separate yourself from it. But if you find it to be a friendly place, you'll use your efforts and energy and technology to bring you closer to it. And I really love to live by that and find that as the question to ask yourself.
Yep. I mean, just a little bit of curiosity, right? That's all you need in life to be able to say, everything is in the unknown, and why are we afraid of what might not happen, what might happen or what not happen?
And that's the beauty.
That's the beauty.
Yeah.
So I kind of asked you this, but in a different way this time. What about your about page that would never say, but should?
I think everybody's about page should kind of give the idea that we have clarity today. We have, an expertise. That expertise is only 5 minutes ahead of everybody else in most places. I think there needs to be a little bit more humility in both my own and really everybody else's, to acknowledge that we present ourselves as being all knowing, but there is a lot that we just may not have any clue about.
So true. So true.
They say your spiritual journey begins when you can realize that your parents were only children trying to heal themselves.
Yeah. And aren't we all doing that for ourselves?
Exactly. So we're all doing this for what feels like the first time, and, remembering, what it is like to, touch on that. But that is the game of being human, is to relearn, to remember.
Exactly. All right. So last rapid fire. Something you've never said on your own podcast, but you might say it here. He's smiling, for those of you who are listening.
Yeah, to those listening, that's such a beautiful sentiment. And the rapid fire responses, coming at, wow, that's something I would say on my podcast. It's hard to actually answer this question for me, because my own podcast is literally just a stream of consciousness for me.
Yes.
From the standpoint of how I answer. So what I would say what I wouldn't say on that podcast is very limited to,
Right. Well, which is why we're talking. So I have this platform so that I can do the stream of consciousness for me and my guests, and we just have a great time, sharing ideas.
I would probably say that I do try to keep the podcast uplifting and everything, but I've probably failed more often than I could imagine. And I would say that, look, I'll try to fail once every day, or at least acknowledge that space, just so I can, build the muscle of remembering that it's not bad to fail. But also, that's a quality that I think that we, resiliency and grit is something that we can foster and we can nurture. That is such a good question.
Well, maybe you could use it.
Yeah, I definitely will. Thank you.
I put image of my guest before I get on, and I know most of the time I know who they are.
Yeah.
With you, it's just been such a joy getting to know you over these, 5, 6, 7 years, 6 years now. Wow.
Yeah, at least 6 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's we may not talk every day or every month or so, but we do catch up, or we leave off and they go, wow, this is a great conversation. So I really appreciate you being on this show. I'm sure my listeners and viewers are going to just have to go back to it to listen to it, and maybe more than once, because there's so many nuggets you've shared and dropped. So in the spirit of gratitude, I always ask the question, is there something you discovered in these last 40 minutes?
Thank you for opening my eyes in regards to, how do we share ourselves with our clients and with the world? And I think that there are ways that we could actually be a bit more authentic in where we plan on bringing our clients to that end state. And so I'm going to take a second look on how we actually communicate that as well. So that's been a nice insight.
Great. Well, that's going to make me go back to my about page too, because I was like, hey, have I looked at my own about page? I can ask questions about other people, but damn, what's missing? Or not what's missing, but what's important to convey that they feel, this is a real person or persons behind this company or whatever they're looking at. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you so much for having me on the show as well.
Yeah, and you make a featured conversation going forward from time to time.
I would love that.
All right, my friend. Take good care.
You too.
Thank you, my friend, for tuning in to another episode of Bold Conscious Connections. If you really enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up, please, and subscribe for more inspiring stories and insights from top entrepreneurs and leaders. So that button is right below here. So join our vibrant community of individuals who are out there making a difference. Okay? Stay tuned for more amazing conversation that will inspire and empower you. And until next time, remember, live boldly and consciously, my friend.